buying yourself a Steve Edwards saddle. Now, why do you need a different tree? Well, because the bone structure is fundamentally different. And so, Steve, do you want to share a few things about how you discovered? Now, I know you're going to talk about the differences, but how you discovered those differences, which led you to design a tree that fit that skeletal structure of the donkey slash mule, and why that makes the difference.
Well, here on the ranch, we have to pack a lot of freight. We have to pack salt out, and for the mules, I mean, for the cattle, we have to pack fencing. We have to pack piping. A lot of different things that we've got to do, uh, and packing feed, what we call cake, and it's a protein bar, a block. Anyway, so we got to pack that stuff, and then when you're packing several mules at one time, like I used to pack an average of 5 mules, and I would put all the pack saddles on them and stuff. We had the old wood sawbuck, and I would pretty much file and rasp and try to do everything, try to fit just right on that mule. Because you got to remember, when they're packing freight, it is dead weight, dead weight. And so it's not like somebody up in the saddle that can move around and kind of help the mule out a little bit. It's dead weight. So therefore, it's easy enough as it is to create problems with your mule, with sore back, sore legs, sore feet, things like this. But if you can, the more you can do to try to help them, the better. So I would fit the saddle just right. Let's call it for Mr. Oscar Mule. Okay, A Mule. And A Mule, I got him all fixed up with the saddle. And B Mule, I carved and cut and fit things to B Mule. And C Mule, I carved and fitted and things. You see what I'm saying? So I tried to get all that stuff just about right. Well, all of a sudden now B Mule dies. He's gone. Now what am I going to do? I have a saddle made, carved, and this sort of thing just for B Mule. I tried to set it on several other different mules, and they did okay, but I could see by the way they walked, not by dry spots, not by wet spots, but the way they walked, how comfortable they are. See? So that's some things to look for too. When people tell me you got dry spots, wet spots, well, how's he walking? That makes a big difference. So, had a guy come down from Canada. His name was Abe Hewitt. Abe was a packer for the Canadian government. And also, he always is making something, kind of an engineer type feller, and just really handy. He could weld, he could bend things, make things, and he did all kinds of stuff. So he contacted me and said, hey, I make pack saddles and stuff. Would you be interested if I come there and use your mules to design these pack saddles? I said, sure, come on down. So he come down, and he come and stayed here. And anyway, he would work on these trees. And he took cottonwood and he made the bars. And he would fit and look and fit and look. We'd watch how the mule would walk. And then he would make up the saddle. And then he'd say, now, Steve, go tear it up. And then I'd go, take him back. And so we're not talking about old Fluffy going up the trail. These were some pretty tough mules, and they tore that equipment up pretty easy. So we kept making and building. Finally, we started going to bars that were made out of a plastic. Oh, man, they were sweet. Because the good thing about it, once we put that bar in a mold, it was made the same way every single time. Now, yes, we do good at a lathe, and we can cut the boards and this sort of thing. But what happened with wood? Wood would get wet and it would get twisted. Why? Because we would use rawhide for the covering. And when rawhide got wet, that then made the wood twist, and we'd have sore mules. But then we started going to the plastic. And then we started making arches that were aluminum that adjusted. So I could go wider, I could go narrower, you see. And we started looking at, okay, how to place the rings for the cinches and stuff. And we place the rings at different places, you see. Now, we look at industrial standards. We have a full rigging plate, and then we have a half rigging plate, half rigging, and then we have 3/4 rigging plates. Okay, and so we would mess around with those and put those rings in different places. Anyway, long story short, we developed an adjustable pack saddle. The good thing about the adjustable pack saddle is this: I could put that saddle on a mule, and I could adjust it wider for the wider mules, narrower for the narrower mules, and that sort of thing. Thinking, okay, by golly, we got it now. So 2-3 years went by, and we started looking at this and going, this mule, even though we adjusted it wider, ended up getting sore places here and here. This mule, even though we made it narrower, ended up getting sore places here and there. You see it? You see what I'm saying? So this adjustable pack saddle taught me where to place the bars on every single mule so that I could be consistent. I didn't have to worry about A, B, or C, D mule dying, because my pack saddle now, I could fit any single mule or donkey I wanted to fit. And I started learning the angles then of how my bars would sit on the back. Okay? And I started seeing consistency. Again, remember, not wet spots, not dry spots, how the mule is moving. 5 days after packing, how was the mule moving? 30 days after packing, how was the mule moving? You understand? Okay? Not wet, dry spots. Only beginners use that terminology. That's all. Okay? How sore is your mule? That right there is it. Because you see, here's the deal. If I had sore-backed mules, sore-legged mules, and this sort of thing, I couldn't use them. And you see, if I couldn't use them, I couldn't get my freight back in the mountains. Or when I was working for the Forest Service or one of those, I couldn't get their freight back in the mountains. And I did a lot of that stuff. So here, going back to this, that's how I come up with the adjustable pack saddle with Abe Hewitt. And then I sold that adjustable pack saddle for years.